Ichak Adizes is not a household name by any means whatsoever, and yet people who I really knew and admired and trusted, when they spoke about him with a reverence that you usually reserve for a Peter Drucker.
Dr. Adizes was just recently voted as one of the top 30 global leadership consultants by the Executive Excellence magazine.
Your methodology has enlightened our company to the lights we've never seen. And I'm proud to say that we're the oldest and largest family-owned sporting goods company in the world. And Dr. Adizes, I owe it to you.
Grupo Salinas experienced a 15-fold increase in revenues over a period of 10 years using the Adizes methodology. The Franklin Mint attained a 6-fold gain in revenues without outside equity over the same length of time.
The perfect manager does not exist. We are all mismanagers. And the greatest mismanager is the one who believes he's a perfect manager.
35 years of experience form the basis for the unique insights and methodology Dr. Adizes created to manage accelerated change in organizations of all sizes and in all stages of their life cycles. This methodology has been successfully tested in thousands of organizations, from startups to Fortune 100 companies, to governments, and in 40 countries. Dr. Adizes lectures worldwide in 4 languages, was granted a Columbia doctorate and 4 honorary doctoral degrees, and has authored 10 books translated into 30 languages. It is now possible to experience 33 of his lectures with the Top Leaf DVDs. Welcome to the Adizes methodology.
Our segment today is how do you make the transition from entrepreneurial company to a professional company? This is a stage in the life cycle. Entrepreneurial company is the go-go company, and we covered it in another segment of this program. And a go-go company gets into trouble. And that's usually what provokes a request for transitioning to a professional company. Up to that point, it's very difficult to make the transition because the leader of a go-go company is considered to be a genius. He made his company grow tremendously every year. People are scared of what he's doing, but you don't argue with results. The company is growing 35, 50, 100% a year. So he's a genius. How can we argue with him? And the board of directors is enchanted with this extroverted, creative person, and they don't fight with him until the company gets into trouble. And then all at once, from being a genius, it turns out to be a madman. It turns out to be an unguided missile. Somebody we need to control and we don't know how to control, and is uncontrollable. And it overnight turns from an asset to becoming a liability. And at that stage, there is a very interesting phenomena. This is the stage of moving to adolescence. This is adolescent stage of the life cycle. So, from entrepreneurial management to professional management, this is a transition. This is also in political science, it's called from absolute monarchy to constitutional monarchy. And sometimes the transition is not to constitutional monarchy, it is to republic. What does it mean? They chop the king's head off, and now they abolish monarchy. This is the fight. This is when the system gets separated from its founders. When it's not true anymore, l'état, c'est moi. It's not true that the king says, the state is me. Me and the state is one of the things. In the go-go stage of the life cycle, I'm the founder and the company is me. I and the company is one and the same. That's why in the go-go company, one of the problems is that if they go public, the founder ignores the fact it's a public company. Some kind of psychologically still believes it is his company. And all these investors are, well, we have to satisfy them, but really they're not relevant. What's relevant is what I want. He treats the company like his own. That's why he can get into trouble of abusing his power for his own benefit because he still believes it's his own company. He started this company, he built this company, and when the stockholders sue him, he doesn't know what happened. He just gets totally flabbergasted. Something is wrong here. He does not realize that l'état, ce n'est pas moi. The state is not me. That transition, when the separation occurs, is like a separation in a family. When the children are teenagers, they're not called children anymore, they're called monsters. Why? Because they're getting separated. There is a division going on here. They're starting their own life. They're starting to be independent. And that's why this is another disruptive point here. Very difficult. This is the birth, and this is the second birth, when the company is getting separated from its founders or the family. And if the company cannot make the transition, they fall into what's called the founder's trap or the family trap. And on average, the tradition says it takes about 3 generations for the company to go under in a family trap. And why there is a trap? Because the family has not made the transition from ownership to management. They're still going management by ownership rather than by talent or capabilities. That separation is what made capitalism successful, the separation of management from ownership through the stock market. And as long as we don't make that separation, the company can fall into a trap, which means when the founder or the family dies, the company dies. Here it gets institutionalized, it's professionalized, and it's not dependent on any single individual for its success. Well, this transition is a very complicated one. Very complicated one. It has several difficulties. Let's see what the difficulties are. First of all, there is a change in leadership needed here. From here to here, the leader that you need is a creative, entrepreneurial, task-oriented doer. It's a fire brigade and an arsonist in one same person. He starts the fires and extinguishes them. Next fire extinguishes them. He's building a company. Very entrepreneurial, very task-oriented, doer, relatively big ego, needs a big ego to build a company, to dedicate your energy to build a company. Here the transition is now to somebody who is not now looking outside, but who is going to be looking inside. Somebody says, wow, hold a second. We need law and order. We need some organization here. We need some systems here. We need now to pay attention to our cost structure. We are rushing like crazy over the hill. We need, and now the energy turns inwards because the company has outpaced itself. There is a change in the leadership requirements. And if the leader who started the company, who is a leader in GoGo, cannot make the transition, usually he has to be squeezed out, fired, and a new executive be brought in. And if he does stay, which is always what we do in companies, we want the entrepreneur to stay. We don't want to lose the energy that is pumping blood into the system. It's very dangerous to get rid of the entrepreneur. The idea is how to move the entrepreneur to a CEO role, chairman CEO, and move the administrative type who is organized into president COO role and how they work together. This pointing the direction, and this is taking care of the inside, so it works efficiently, and there is some cost orientation and some detail orientation, so we do not fall by the wayside because of not paying attention to the details. So there is a leadership change here. Not everybody likes to change positions. Founders usually like to hold on to. And you know what happens? I've seen extreme cases, pathological cases, where the founder, because he cannot control the company anymore, he starts killing the company. He starts destroying the company. He has all kinds of wonderful reasons why he's doing that, which are very, high level. But when you really look at the details, what he's doing is destroying the company. I've seen it in my professional work with some prime ministers, and this is the case of Milosevic, about which I wrote. And I met the person, and I was invited to help Yugoslavia not to fall apart in '91, and I realized here is another person who would rather destroy the country if he cannot control it. So this is a dangerous stage. How do we make this transition? How do we make the transition? So the first challenge here is changing leadership style. Not getting rid, but changing the engines. What else do you have to change? You have to change the goals. Here the goal is cash flow. They will do anything for cash flow because they're growing. Here the goal is sales, market share. Here the goal should be what? Profits. We're spending too much money. The sales are going up, the profits are going down. We have to now become profit-oriented. But the change from sales orientation to profit orientation is not an easy one. You need to have cost counting. You have to know what you're doing. You need to have information. And the information not be available because the organization is so scattered and disorganized and maybe even geographically all dispersed. It's very difficult to get your hands around the information. What else has to change here? The strategies. If you change the goal, the strategies have to change. Here the goal was market share. Profitability was a constraint. You don't want to lose money, but there was the profitability. Market share. Here you want profitability, but what happened to the market share? Don't ignore it. Now what you have to make is market share be a constrained goal. You don't want to have less than market share as you're changing the organization internally to be more profit-oriented. What else is changing? The structure. Here the structure is all around the founder, usually functional organizational structure, because it's very centralized. Now that we're becoming more professional, you should have multiple profit centers. You should develop the next layer of leaders to lead the company and to institutionalize entrepreneurial spirit in multiple places in the organization rather than monopolized in a single individual like it's in a go-go. What else is changing from here to here? The reward systems. Here the reward system is, did you bring any sales? Did you bring any revenues? Bonus. Salary plus bonus. Forget equity. To give equity at this stage is too early. What will I do with equity? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this company. It doesn't motivate. You're just, and by the way, many founders do make that mistake. They give equity. Why? Because it costs them nothing. It's especially in courtship. That's a classical mistake in a courtship. I'm starting a company and dreaming about a company. I'm trying to get people to support me. So I start making promises. If we have a company, you will represent me in Europe. If we have a company, you'll be on my board. If you have a company, you'll be my partner. You're giving away something that costs you nothing because there is nothing as yet. Eventually, it's going to come and bite you. Down the road, they're going to come from nowhere with all these promises you made and come and haunt you. In infancy, you should just give low salary as low as possible, high bonuses as much as possible, reduce your fixed, increase your variable, because you are cash short and you need to get your rewards based on performance. Go, the same thing. The same thing. By the time you come to adolescence, it's not working anymore. Now you have to change it. Now you're profit-oriented. You have to go into profit sharing. But in order to go into profit sharing, guess what? It cannot be a windfall effect. To go into profit sharing, you have to have the right measurable goals, organizational structure, measurement of profitability, know what to cut. Now that the people should feel that they are impacting the profits, so when they share in the profits, that's a result of their work, rather than somehow manna from the sky comes a profit sharing to which they did not contribute anything. Then you're throwing your money away without getting the benefits out of it. And the next stage, you're going to give equity. See, by now the company is still established and systematized and it's prime. Now it's time to give equity in small portions out. Then it's motivating. Anything earlier than that, you're just giving it away for nothing. You get nothing in return. What else has to change between go-go and adolescence? I already said, strategy, goals, leadership, structure, rewards. What else has to change in that stage? You might have to change your mission, you see? The mission here was all external. Now you have to have an internal mission, to have the best managed company money can buy, so that you solidify the layer on which you are, so now you can go from here to the next layer. Usually it happens around $150 million, between 40 to 150, depending on the industry. That's when the truck starts shaking and it's time to do something about it because it's too big for its capabilities. The transition from go-go to adolescence is a very complicated one. What is really changing here, if you want to know the basics of it, is from here to here, function is more important than the form. Here, form takes place. Now you have a fight, quote unquote, between form and function. That's why what could happen is a divorce. The partners split. They cannot work together. The inside person and the outside person are not even talking to each other. This guy says, I built the company, now you are stopping me, you are accusing me, so there was a mistake. Now you don't, I made you a millionaire, and what am I getting in return? That you are scorning me or going and complaining to the board about me. They built an alliance with the board against me. There is a lot of inside fighting in the transition from go-go to adolescence, which can lead into a divorce. And what that stage is and what is a fight we'll cover in another segment. But maybe I will cover some of it right now because I think we still have time. Because the inside person wants to control and cut costs and organize and systematize, he has to say a lot of no, 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 no. That makes it difficult. Why? Because the company was used to say yes, 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 yes to everything. It was relatively promiscuous. Now when they bring a professional manager to really run the place professionally, he starts making budgets, he has to develop discipline, and the people don't like it. They remember the guerrilla times when everything was possible, and they were really kind of having free and they were flexible. Now we need some boundaries. Now starts a fight, and the professional manager feels that he's not getting the recognition, and the old-timers are undermining him and fighting him and making it difficult for him. So you know what he tries to do? Bring outsiders which are aligned with him as professional managers. And now you have a we-they syndrome in the company. Now there starts a fight between the old-timers and the new-timers. The energy in that company turns inwards. In an adolescent company, there is a lot of internal fighting. There is a lot of internal politics. And also, the professional manager was invited by the founder, by the leader, to come and manage the company, feels now that that person is not valuing him, not giving him the credit, not giving him the authority to manage anything. And those old-timers, anytime the professional manager tries to establish some discipline and to say what not to do, they go and complain to the founder and say, you see, he's a bureaucrat. All he knows is how to turn the lights at the end of the day. He's only saving costs. He doesn't know how to increase revenues. He is a bureaucrat. He's killing the company. And the founder says, I know they need me. And he plunges back in, and he fires the professional manager, and the circle starts all over again. This is classical adolescence. If the founder, if the leader is in a control, he fires the professional managers one after the other. Or he abdicates, which is even worse. Hear me well. He abdicates. Says, I don't know how to manage it. It is too big, too many difficulties. Here are the keys. Run it. But the other guy runs it totally different from the founder. So the founder feels that somebody hijacked his company. Now it's not his company anymore. They took it away, they're changing it. It is totally different. They're firing his old people that built the company together with him, bringing all kinds of MBA bureaucrats. He gets disgusted. He feels betrayed. If he has control of the company, comes back, he fires the professional manager. Next guy learns the lesson, and he says, Oppa, I better work with the founder. I better go after sales. What he really wants is contracts. He doesn't work on the budgets, he doesn't work on the controls, he doesn't work on the discipline, and what happens? He's not doing the job. Fire him. The adolescent stage is the most difficult stage in the life cycle of the organization. This transition is extremely difficult. I've known companies that have been stuck in that stage for 40 years. They go in and out. What does it mean in and out? The leader of the go-go company brings the professional manager. He's squeezed out. Then he comes back in, sends the professional manager back home. And they go back and forth, back and forth. The founder is long time gone. Nevertheless, the leader of the go-go company still behaves as if he's a founder. Same culture. And the fight between the entrepreneurial leadership and the professional leadership is a continuous one, and they get stuck for many, many years. There's another thing going on in the adolescent organization. It's called the love-hate relationship. The company company loves the leader because he's so entrepreneurial, he or she, and brings all the clients and have the contacts and have the market and the knowledge. They are really to be loved, to be appreciated, to be respected. But at the same time, they're the source of all the difficulties of the company. Why? Because they're changing their mind, they're bringing more crises and more deals that the company can handle, they're changing direction, they're expecting too much. And the company says, oh my God, it is the most extreme case. It's called the Seagull Syndrome. If you have a boat, you probably don't like seagulls. Why? Because they come and crap on your boat. The same thing with a founder that is arrogant and feels he's above it all. They start developing other interests, political interest, travel interest, maybe even extracurricular sexual orientation outside of the marriage because they feel so powerful and so successful. They disappear from the company in a sense. And then they reappear. And when they reappear, all hell breaks loose. You're not doing what I want you to do. This is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, that's the problem. Everybody is jumping. Then they disappear again. Now, if they do what you wanted them to do, when he reappears, he's upset because they did not do what you wanted him to do. He already changed his mind. It's not enough what you wanted to do. If they don't do it, why they didn't do it? So basically, people feel, oh my God, here he comes. When is he going to go away? But at the same time, we need him because he has all the connections, he has all the market, he has the vision, all his, charisma. So we want him, but we don't want him, which is something that happens in a marriage, in a family as well. When teenagers are teenagers, you have a love-hate relationship too. You want them to be independent, you want them to be grown up, but at the same time you're scared that really can they leave, so you try to control them. They would like to leave, but they don't want to go too far because they still need the support of the family. So there is always this tug of war between the family that wants control and the teenager who wants independence. And that struggle is exactly what happens here between the founders or the leader of the company and the company. The same struggle of separation. There is another problem that can be pathological. Look at teenagers. They want the authority of a grown-up with the responsibility of a child. They, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm grown up. They want authority. But they don't accept responsibility. Maturity is when you finally take authority and responsibility. When you're young, you take responsibility, but you don't have authority. And this transition is very complicated for a teenager. And it can be exasperating the parents because the kid wants all the authority to make decisions by himself, but when they make a mistake, they don't take responsibility. Somebody else's fault. You just want to shake them up. Same thing with an adolescent company. The company, they want to be independentized. They want to be emancipated from the leaders, from the founder of the go-go company. We want to be free because he's giving us all this hard time. But at the same time, they don't want to take responsibility for what's going on because it's his fault. He's leading the whole thing. He's making the trouble. And this love-hate relationship is not only from the organization to the leaders, but from the founder or the leaders towards the organization. The founder feels, I've done it. I built the company. I want to be freed. I want to go. I want other interests. But I cannot be freed. Now I'm a prisoner. I just started something hoping that I can split, but you know what? It is a Zen. This is a Zen story from Zen Buddhism. A farmer is going to market holding a rope, and the end of the rope is a cow. So they asked him, why are you letting the cow control you? He says, cow is not controlling me, I'm controlling the cow. He says, if the cow is not controlling you, why don't you let go of the rope? Oh, no. So what the story is, whatever you try to control, controls you. Whatever you try to control, controls you. So you build a company that you want to control, and now what happens? You cannot be freed, because you have to control it. Now you become a prisoner of your own creation. And they hate it. So I want to go. I've done it. I want to be freed. I cannot. When I go, they say, we need you. When I come, they say, I'm interfering. What should I do? How do I get freed? These are the diseases of adolescence. And it becomes pathological when there is a split. When the founder is kicked by the board of directors, like it happened in Apple Computers, in many other companies, the board says we cannot handle it, it's too much of a liability. He was an asset, now he's a liability. We need professional management and we need to stop this internal fighting, goodbye. When that happens, the organization becomes prematurely aging. They lose entrepreneurial spirit, they lose the engine that makes the company grow, they become profitable, but it's not the exciting thing it used to be. It's not going anywhere anymore, and the organization eventually will maybe even die if it loses entrepreneurial spirit. The trick is how to keep both sides working together, the entrepreneurial and the administrative side working together. And that is a stage where they're going to start fighting. So we have to predict it and we have to handle it proactively so that it does not produce the negative effects that it very often does. Thank you very much.
To learn about the Adizes methodology of management beyond the top leaf recorded lecture you've just seen, we encourage you to use one of the Adizes programs, publications, and/or worldwide consulting services. These provide proven paths to obtaining deeper knowledge and breadth of the Adizes methodology. One way to learn more is by joining a Top Leaf Leadership Forum group. The group meets in peer-to-peer learning sessions, where they discuss how to apply the concepts from the recorded lectures the group has viewed, and then in subsequent sessions share their experiences and learn from each other. It is a hands-on experience under the guidance of a trained Adizes certified facilitator that can also be delivered by video conferencing. Your group can be within your company, or you can join a peer group representing multiple companies. In between group sessions, participants use our online learning system, where they can access their manuals, engage in online discussions with their peers, and research our digital books library.
One lecture from each module can be purchased and viewed online. Certified facilitators buy an annual license to use Top Leaf in training programs. Licensed files are delivered on a rental iPod video. Our curriculum is also available in Spanish.
As with all programs and services from the Adizes Institute, Top Leaf is available in several languages. Top Leaf groups are today being facilitated in foreign countries with the use of video conferencing by multilingual Adizes facilitators directly from our headquarters.
With the Top Leaf, which I joined almost a year ago, I had a big benefit from it. Really helped me in managing my companies.
Always at the forefront in techniques and technology, the Adizes Institute continues to be placed at the top of the lists that distinguish and reward for excellence. Recently, it was ranked in the top 10 Best in Leadership Development. You can always learn more by reading Dr. Adizes' books. Recent titles include Management Mismanagement Styles, Leading the Leaders, How to Handle People Whose Style is Different from Yours, How to Solve Management Crisis, Mastering Change, Pursuit of Prime, and his seminal work, Managing Corporate Life Cycles, How and Why Organizations Grow, Age, and Die, and What to Do About It. Dr. Adizes' books are available in 30 languages. Everyone now gets access to the digital versions of the books. To purchase Adizes books and DVDs, go to www.adizes.com/store. Beyond attending Top Leaf forums and reading the books for in-depth application of the Adizes methodology, Adizes offices worldwide help clients by using the methodology to accomplish rapid and effective strategic changes.
The Adizes offices exist to provide clients and those that want to deploy the Adizes program and management resources and tools more effectively. And because this is the core competence of an Adizes office, the clients are able to do so with greater speed and accuracy.
The Adizes Institute has offices in 11 countries, working in 9 languages, staffed with certified associates who have been trained for over 3 years in the Adizes methodology, and who have been practicing top managers prior to joining Adizes.
The way in which the program gets deployed, it always starts with an initial diagnosis. That's more like a self-diagnosis by the core management team. And then based on what the issues are and the unique life cycle position that the organization finds itself in, a customized program is designed.
We need a color team of styles, PAEI.
In addition, Adizes associates deliver lectures and workshops in multiple languages to increase the understanding of change management in a world of accelerated change. Certified associates have a deep and diversified professional experience base. In addition, the Adizes training and certification process is rigorous and lengthy, 3 years for full certification. Training for top leaf facilitation takes less time, but requires no less commitment to the core methodology, crucial to obtaining successful results. To become a certified Adizes associate or to contact your local Adizes office, go to www.adizes.com. The Adizes Graduate School for the Study of Leadership and Change offers MA and PhD programs online. Dr. Adizes is the dean of this internationally acclaimed school, as well as the originator of the Management Vitality School. The Management Vitality School offers interactive, distance learning workshops that provide high-level learning of Adizes principles to senior managers and executives. To enroll in the Adizes Graduate School, go to www.adizesgraduateschool.org. To enroll in the Management Vitality School, go to www.managementvitality.com. Join us by becoming a Top Leaf group participant or a certified Top Leaf facilitator or recruiter by going to our website, www.adizestopleaf.com. To enroll in the Adizes Graduate School, go to www.adizesgraduateschool.org. To enroll in the Management Vitality School, go to www.managementvitality.com. To purchase Adizes books and DVDs, go to www.adizes.com/store. To become a certified Adizes associate or to contact your local Adizes office, go to www.adizes.com.